Yo, shalom. All praises to the Most High. Yehovah, Yehoshua. This is Sounds from YYBY. So we have many videos on reasons, or on YouTube about reasons SL mixer. But maybe the way I explain it, certain people will understand and realize how great this mixer is. Because a lot of the times we complain about, workflow. And yes, every DAW has their pros and cons. Reason has its pros and cons, like other DAWs, stuff like that. But a lot of the times the workflow is very important, especially when we're trying to create. And what I want to do, I want to break down everything on the mixer part and everything on the master, everything right here that you can see. And the first thing I want to start with is the gain knob. We know about gain. Anytime something need to be loud or low when you're recording a session or making a beat, you want to use the gain knob. Don't focus on these levels. Don't take away and add with these levels. This is later on in the process. So when you mix in and stuff like that, that's when you want to use these, or when you want to do automation, right? Because I had to learn that myself. The gain knob is very important. So if the track is too loud, just turn the gain down, right? And this button next to it called the Invert Phase Off. This is when you're dealing with headphone issues. When you're getting phase between headphones and you got more than one headphones connected or more than one track recording. And this is when you press this button to fix that issue that you're having. So it inverts, convert the headphone phase, and you just got to try and play with it. Because I'm not going to go in detail how how a compressor work or how a gate works and stuff like that. No, I'm going to explain to you everything on this mixer, why it's so great, where it's just right there, when you could just boom, 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 boom real quick to get certain things done. Okay. Now, the next thing is called the insert pre. What is this? What is this knob? The insert pre, what it does, it changes the routing of the compressor, the EQ on this track which is right here, and the inserts. Now, where's the inserts? The inserts are on the rack. The inserts are the ones that's in that track, that particular track. The inserts, that everything that go in right here, those are the inserts. Okay, so based on when you set this to insert pre, what it does, it places the dynamics on the SL mixer. Okay, well, I'm sorry, the inserts are placed before the dynamic mixer. So when you press this, right, everything that's on your inserts, all the effects on your insert will go before these effects. If you turn this off, these go before the inserts. Okay, and a lot of the time it pros and cons to that. And some people like, well, why should I do that? Because the different positions of your plugins on your mixer track affects the vocals or the audio sound different. And no way is wrong or right. You just have to use and figure out and tweak it and play with it to see what works best for what you're doing at that time. That's the whole point. Like, it's no wrong or right when they say compressor should be first or EQ should be first. It's just based on what you're doing, man. I'm telling you, trust me, man. And as you look, when you press the button, it changes them. So you say inserts, dynamic EQ. You take it off, dynamics EQ insert. It's simple. It simplifies right there, just like a dope. It's the signal path. It's dope. All right, so dynamic post EQ. What this do? It put the EQ first on here. The EQ right here. This EQ right here first. Then the dynamics, then your inserts. You feel what I'm saying? Like, so that's a different approach also. Now, me personally, when you're recording the session and you're recording through, my personal opinion, I think you should have the dynamic first. Why? Because you might be using the gate, and we're gonna get to that part. You might be using the gate and compressor and the compressor. So when you're recording in, you want that compressor, you want those dynamics to affect that track first, and then start cleaning everything up after. All right, so now let's keep going. Filters to dynamic SC means sidechain. What this means, when you select this right here, it changes it. The filter of the EQ of this track. The filter of the EQ of this track. Let's go to right here. Let's go to this one. The filter of the EQ of this track. If you open up this EQ, as you can see right here, if you notice that when you turn this on, it removes the low pass filter and the high pass filter. It removes it out the way. Now you still can use, and so when you turn this EQ on, you can't use that low pass filter and high pass filter on the EQ right here, right? The reason why is because now that low pass filter and high pass filter is used towards the dynamics, the compressor, the gate, is used, for that. So now when you turn it back on, then now you can use it. You could turn these on. You could turn these on. Maybe if you turn these on and then select this, it still be there. It works, which is great. And you have to play with that to see how unique that sounds. And it's a great tool. It's a great idea. It's pretty dope, man. Kid you not, it's really dope. So, all right, what's next? So again, yeah, this is, you use the filters. It's plain as day, filters to dynamics, sidechain. When you sidechaining, you're using the filter on that, and sometimes you get a better control of, with your vocals or your audio sound and stuff. All right, so the next thing is the compressor. This is a limiter and a compressor. We already know how to set the compression and all that stuff, but boom, boom. When you select the peak, it turns it into a limiter. And then based on how you set this, it will limit those certain peaks of that audio coming in on that track. Then you got the fast attack. Now this key option is when you sidechain it, and that's when you sidechain this track to whatever you're using, that's when this key knob comes on, right? And then you see all the knobs going up and down and stuff like that. I want to keep this simple as possible. Gate. When you use a gate, some people say it's crazy to use a gate when you're recording through. I say no. It's all about how you set it, because sometimes sensitive mics pick up so much stuff and pick up white noise, where sometimes when an artist is at the mic, they can hear all that white noise in the headphones. When you turn that gate on and set it right, you won't hear that noise, and the gate kicks on when you say something. See, but the problem is, if you set this gate too hard, it will cut off some of those vocals of that artist, especially an artist who sound real soft through the mic. If they sound like this, yeah, you know what I'm saying, whatever, hey, how you doing, compared to, hey, how you doing, what's going on, and then they don't know the distance to be in front of the mic and away from the mic. So but the gate got its pros and cons. You can set it before and after. So I have the gate on set a certain way during my recording process, but I don't use the gate. I use the expander, which is the gate. The expander. Give me 1 second, yo. Hold on. Sorry about that. So I use the expander. Why? The expander, it doesn't close the gate fully, so it don't shut off the artist or the people who talking through the mic, but at the same time, it's still open and close it up. And the great thing about the expander, which you can go read about, the expander boosts up the vocals and make the things louder. So it's actually a great setting. So when you set this right here, the expander, then you know it closes different and it works different. Trust me. So you got pros and cons how you can use both. I kid you not, and you'll love it if you want to use it before or after you record your vocals. All right, next you got the EQ. Okay, next is the EQ. We know the EQ. Turn all the knobs on. Filter to dynamic. It's the same concept as this one up here. You know, you side chain, and you know, again, you know, it's the same concept, and you know, it turns those on and off, and if you can use them or not, such and such. So all these knobs and bells and all that all connect to these knobs right here on that mixer. Everything on here connects to it. So that's straight simple. Let's keep going. Bypass is all the inserts. So the inserts that you have right here, it bypasses those. So you already have them on the track. You don't got to go to this part to bypass them. You can bypass them right here. Let's keep going. You got 8 inserts. 8 sends, I'm sorry. Most people like, yo, I need more sends. Like, it's pros and cons to that, man, because like, you know, why you need more than 8 sends? You know what? I take that back. I don't need more than 8 sends. I don't need a lot of sends. I got right now, I'm only using 6 right now. You know, because it's certain things that you don't want to put on the send anyway. It's certain effects, because some of those effects, based on what, you know, preset you use, will put a delay in stuff. So especially when you're recording real time and you're recording through and you're using certain sends, it would put a delay on those vocals. Even though you got delay compensation is on, you know, certain sends take a lot of CPU. Well, it's CPU intensive, or it's a certain effect where it's designed with a delay on it. So a lot of the times on sends, you know, we're using reverbs, you know, a delay or saturation, you know, so it's certain ones you use. I get it. Some people need more than that, and that's fine. It's no debate about that. But, you know, when I'm recording in, you know, it's certain things that I don't need a lot of sends for, because everything else I could just go put on that track. See, these sends right here, you know, to give that vibe in that moment right then and there. So when I got this turned on right here, I got a little bit of reverb so the artist can record in, so they can hear a reverb. Sometimes artists like reverb on their vocals to give them that vibe and that energy. Some people don't even like it, man. They say turn that joint off. I was like, okay, cool. I asked them, do they want it on their vocals or not? You know, during the process, sometimes I use this reverb. It got like a phase difference. Sometimes I use this reverb. Sometimes I added a delay before, you know, a delay after they finish recording, just to give a little vibe so they can hear it, to get an idea what they might want to use. And, you know, I tweak this up a certain way. It's just something real quick to kind of give an idea. I always go back during the mixing process and, you know, and start tweaking everything up more, you know, or I might just cut this delay off and add a delay on the track. I don't know. It varies. Saturation. This is for the vocal enhancer, the enhancer the vocals even more. Sometimes I need this, sometimes I don't. You know, it's just a good tool just to have. Let's close this. A unison, and I got a dual pitch. You know, it's more like a chorus, like a classic stereo spread. So sometimes on hooks and all that, I put this on there, give it a certain taste. They be like, wow, I like that. That sound great. You know, that a smooth, keep that. You know, then I might, you know, whatever idea I come up next on this one, on the 8th one, I use. But besides that, everything else go on the track. Okay. Now, the great thing about this, you got the levels. You got the send levels, the volume, and then you got a level right here on the FX return. The dope thing I love about this part is that what most DAWs don't have, and what I'm about to tell y'all, you have to create this in some DAWs. In Studio One, you have to create this with the splitter. It's got a tool in there called the splitter. You have to create that. In Reason, it's already on the mixer. A lot of the new technology DAWs, They have plain mixers. They don't have stuff already built in the mixer. Only DAW I know that's kind of like that is Sonar. Whatever effect you use on this track, you can pan that effect left of the speaker of that vocal or right of that vocal. That's dope to get it out of the way. So it don't have to, that effect don't have to be in the middle exactly with that vocal or sound. You can move it to the left of the speaker or the right of the speaker to give it a certain dope vibe where it can give it space and everything. So it's already built in. I used to have to create this on every track, you know, inside Studio One and every other DAW. Some DAWs don't even have this option, or they just have a plugin that might can do that. So it's already built in, and this is a very important tool. This is dope, man. Let's keep going. Down here, when you drop a audio track, you know, like this beat I got right here. This is something that I helped, you know, mix and master, record it. It's me and my boy Priest. Let you hear it a little bit. I actually mixed this and mastered this inside Reason. They recorded it at their crib and sent me the files and everything. But anyway, dope song, dope record with me and him on there. So when you got a stereo track on any one of these tracks, it opens up this right here. When it's mono, it's like this. But when it's a stereo file or you add a certain plug-in insert on that track, it opened this up, and which I love because again, this Bonero pan, I think Sampler 2 has this built in on a track. Most other DAWs you have to use a plugin. You have to drag a plugin on every track, you know, so you're using a whole bunch of plugins. And what Bonero pan do, what it does, you know, it spreads how wide you want that sound to be. You need this. Spread it. You might be like, okay, you want my beat to be like this to give those vocals space to be in the middle, mono. So you can play with this and see how wide you want it to sound so it can really fit. And every other instrument come the same way. So you can still pan it and still have it spread and sound wide in that left speaker, you know, and vice versa. So this is a great tool that's already built in on the mixer, man. You know, straight to the point. You got the mute and solo button. Again, you got the mixer levels. You got the, the bus. And what I like about the bus effect, the bus thing, is that every DAW can do bus. But the problem with some DAWs is that their bus area right here is so small where you can barely see what's been connected. And let me show you. If I get these two tracks and I go to route and I go add new bus, the bus track right here is colored already automatically, which I love, and still got the pan thing right here that you still can use on this. And it showed the color on top of that track. So it's a nice size where you can really view and see the words without struggling to try to figure out what it is. Because again, Reason don't have an option on their mixer on the console where you can put tracks in folders. So if you got a lot of tracks, then that's why this is very important. So, even when you change this color, it identifies it so perfectly. It's nice. So whatever you name it, you can see the words pretty good. You have words right there that you can read without, sometimes it being so small. And a lot of DAWs is like that. And I hate that. I don't understand why they created that way. It might be a little word that's squeezed in and it just say, and you got to hover over it to see. But this is huge. It's plain as day. And you still can change these colors to this color. The really know what's used with what, right? And I like that. So it identifies it great. Now, if you notice that when I select these two tracks, this turned red. What that means is that that's the track that's been selected. Just as simple. But the trick, what most people don't know, they don't know what this yellow thing is right here. And I had to find out what this is. This is called it's a channel header. And it's like a set remote base, where this is the first track that's remotely connected to your MIDI keyboard. So if you got a MIDI keyboard, most keyboards come with like 8 tracks, 8 knobs, 8 buttons, and 8 mixer volumes, right? So this will be number 1. And what you do, you set those, you right click and you set remote base channel. So every time you turn your DAW on and your keyboard is on, that first track would be this one. And so that the second track would be, that knob and mixer, that the third track would be that knob, blah, blah, blah. And sometimes if they not connected properly, then you still can always go right here and right click on that knob and then select that, keyboard control mapping and set it up yourself how you want it to be. So, you can read about that more, inside the pamphlet, inside the manual, break it down more. On the master bus, we know about the bus thing. We know about that. Great. You can still side chain it if you, whatever reason you need that for. We know the sends on here. We could bypass all the master effects. Signal path, the compressor, inserts, pre-compressor. So you can either change if you want the inserts first or you want this to be first. So, that's pros and cons of that. And when you get down here, you got the control room. Instead of using this volume to turn everything down, you use the control room, and whatever, on the control room and how you set that up, you go right here inside the, in the back of the rack, which is beautiful. And because normally when you get a DAW, when you get open up regions, it's normally set like this with the master out. You change that to the control room. So now when it's time to want to control that volume, play that beat, or you're recording an artist, you don't have to turn this down or turn this up. You can just do this right here. And you still can automate this knob too. You can automate damn near everything. And if you notice that when I turn this up and down, the level of the master bus still the same. See? Still shooting up at that certain level. So that come in handy great. Also, we know what delay compensation is. You turn that on, turn it on your recessions and keep it on. Always keep it on. Well, they say turn it off when you start mixing and everything. You have a spectrum on the track. It's a good spectrum, good visual on the spectrum. Even though different DAWs have like better spectrums and show you like different ways of seeing it, that'll be great. Reason to add that on there. But you still can get the job done by seeing what you're saying, on this right here. And then the last thing is that you got take it to the rack, take it to the sequencer. Then you got mute on, off, everything. So if you got everything mute like this, it'll turn those off. You got everything solo, it'll turn those off. And then a thing that I like the most right here, and I got this connected to a button on my keyboard, is the dim. So if you got your music loud and you want to conversate with somebody right quick, instead of just turning this down, or turning this down, you can just play this and you just press the button, put the dim in 20 dB, and when you're ready to go back to your work, press it back. Love that. The control room is, we all know what the control room is. Cause I'm not here to try to teach people about music, because a lot of people, it's different perspectives, it's wrong and right. I just want to give people the understanding of what this mixer present. And that's about it. And besides this right here, these just, close, and if you want your mixer to be smaller, and that's what those buttons is for and everything, to close certain options, right? To minimize your mixer. But I like to see the whole mixer because it's a beautiful thing, man. So if you have any questions, any opinions, leave it respectfully. This is YYBY. Peace.